Hey, Coach. It's Jody Dillon with Cardinal Authority. Just you've got some depth and some competition. And I know a lot of people think Jalen, way he finished last year, but what's the first few days been like in your room in the competition?
It's been heated. It's been good competition in terms of the players working hard and everybody's pushing each other. We always talk about in our room all the time of we got to be the driving force that pushes each other. So when one guy has a big play, the next guy's itching to get in there so he can get a big play. And then when one guy has a bad play, the rest of his teammates are there to lift him up and encourage him. So it's been good competition. It's been healthy competition, which is always good.
Hey, Darrell's Cameron with the Courier Journal. You mentioned that competition. Obviously, Jalen and Hassan are really pushing each other at the top of that depth chart. What's that been like to see those two compete? And then I know Coach Satterfield said Hassan is looking real good, so I'm curious your thoughts on the way Hassan's looked so far in camp.
That competition has just been really good between the two. They feed and vibe off one another, so that part is really good. Anytime you got a bunch of guys that can really play and everybody wants to play, that's always a really, really good thing because now you're going to get the best out of everybody. Hassan had a really good summer. First couple of days in practice has been good. We always can get better. We're always trying to push and find a way to get 1% every day. So that's been the number one focus and number one deal, especially, as a whole group from a ball security standpoint, just making sure we're taking care of the football.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt McGavin with Sports Illustrated. How is Maurice Berkeley doing? I know he had an injury towards the end of last season, but how healthy is he looking right now?
Doing really good. I call him RoboCop. The way he bounced back and coming back from his injury, he is a really good person and a really good leader. He's doing a really good job. A very, very hard worker that is passionate and that cares. The number one deal is, you can't even tell he's bouncing back from an injury by the way he's been out here running and moving. So he's been really good and a pleasure to coach.
Darrell, with Jalen, he had such a good ending to last year. What had the offseason been like? And Scott mentioned on Sunday that maybe he doesn't need to lift any more weights. He looks like he's big enough right now. How does he use that, or how do you teach him to kind of use that physicality and that strength this season on the field?
It's always little things in terms of teaching them how to come. When you're running the ball, everybody thinks it's just about pad level, which it is, but it's also being able to come out of your hips and bring that power because you always have power that's coming from your legs and coming through your upper body. So being able to run behind your pads, but also bring your hips with you when you're running the football. But Jaden's done a phenomenal job all spring and summer. He's a guy that you pretty much have to run out of the building because he's going to find a way to always get extra work in because that's what you want. His mindset is tremendous and his work ethic is off the charts. So he's the type of player that you always want to be able to coach. And we're blessed to have him.
Darrell, I'm curious, when you have so many backs, I mean, obviously we talk about Jalen and Hassan and Berkeley, but you got Cooley and Jordan and then so many other guys. How do you go about balancing that in camp so that you have a rotation of guys, your rotation by the time the season starts?
Well, you use the practices and then you use the scrimmages. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint, pretty much everywhere I've been in my past, I've usually had this many backs in terms of guys that's able to play and able to push each other. So the thing about it is you get guys that are able to continue to keep pushing. Everybody gets their reps in practice, and we grade everything from a running back standpoint of seeing how guys are doing. And then we kind of chart that. We'll get through the scrimmages and then see where we at, see who's doing really, really well, see who needs more work, and then we go from there.
Do you like it down to a two-man rotation, or do you mind going three if you need to?
Listen, whatever it takes to win the game, that's the number one deal. If it takes 3 to win the game, if it takes 4 to 5 to win the game, whatever it takes, so we staying fresh, we'll do whatever it takes to win the ball game.
Hey, Darrell, it's
kind of building up.
ESPN Louisville. In regards to Travion Cooley, that's a name we've heard a couple times thus far, leading up to camp. What's your analysis on Cooley? What's he need to improve in? Do you like him? Do you see him maybe getting into the rotation at some point this year?
I think with him every day, he's totally different from where he was in the spring. In the spring, he was kind of like a deer in the headlights. So every day right now, he's getting better and better. And just to be honest with you, just like all of us in that room, we got to improve on everything. That's the number one deal. We're not a fine product, finished product yet. We got to continue to work on our game. So from every aspect, whether it's running the ball, pass protection, the pass catching game, the receiving game, we got to improve in every aspect. And that's the number one deal with him. But you see flashes. You see flashes of what he's going to be, and that's the most promising thing.
Hey, Darrell, Matt again. Jawar Jordan joined the program semi-recently. So how has he looked so far in camp?
He looks good. The number one deal with him, he haven't even been here a week yet. So he's still trying to learn how we do things. From the way that we operate in the weight room to the way we operate on the field, he's still learning the playbook. But you see the same situation with him. When he gets in and he gets the ball in his hands, you see flashes of him as well.
Darrell, hey, it's Jody again. You being one of the new guys on the staff, what is your philosophy and how will you go about fall camp? And do you feel like you guys will name a starter before the end of fall camp, or is that something that you like to play out? And I know last year, the last couple of years with Scott, it's kind of played out through fall camp in itself. How do you anticipate seeing this competition kind of, towards the end of fall camp?
I think it's going to play itself out throughout fall camp. And then at the end of it, Coach Satterfield will have the final call on that from what he sees fits in terms of who's 1A, and then we'll kind of roll from that standpoint. But I think you let this thing play out as we go through fall camp, and then we go from there.
Darrell, a lot of people kind of just assume that obviously Jalen and Hassan will kind of share carries, and regardless of who is 1A, maybe 1B throughout the rotation, just what do you see the benefits of having multiple guys in the backfield and doing it kind of as a committee?
The number one deal is, you keeping everybody fresh. So when the defense is tired in the third and fourth quarter and you got horses coming at them with fresh legs, it's hard for them to stop them. That's a lot of times where you see the explosive plays come from. I think the days of back when I played where you had one running back that took all the carries, now you want to keep guys fresh because it's a long season. And the number one deal is if you got multiple guys in the room, at some point in time, somebody's going to get dinged up and the next guy is able to come in and the offense does not take a step back. Sometimes it takes a step forward. That's a positive deal. And that happens when you got a bunch of guys that are playing with their hair on fire and they all are fresh. And when they get in, they're itching to want to go score a touchdown and make a name for themselves. That's a really, really good thing. And that's what you want in terms of this room and being able to drive itself.
Kind of a quick follow-up to that. Do you see this as a committee group, or do you see guys like maybe one guy standing out from the rest right now?
You know what? It's too early to tell. To be honest with you, it's too early to tell. Once we get a little further along in fall camp, it'll probably start to show itself what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, as long as we win in ball games, that's all that matters.
Darrell, just kind of a general question in regards to the upcoming season. When it comes to preparation for Ole Miss and getting ready for the opener, how far along are you guys in the process? Obviously, it's early in camp, and like you said, you're still trying to get some people acclimated to what's going on. But, behind the scenes when it comes to, just getting ready for that game and the matchups you have for the rest of the year, how far and deep in the process are you guys?
You know what? We started back during the summer, going through as coaches, looking at the game, starting to put together and just look at Ole Miss a little bit. But right now we're focused on us. That's the number one competition that we got right now is us. So we kind of trying to refine ourselves and get better, and get 1% better every day from our standpoint. Once we get further along in fall camp and get about a week out, then we'll probably start getting in that preparation for Ole Miss better.
Darrell, with the new rules as far as pads and helmets and shoulder pads, not wearing full pads, how does that affect a running back? And is it good that they don't take as many hits in fall camp? But yet, don't you need some hits to kind of get ready for that game experience?
You need some hits, but the number one deal from a running back standpoint is you only have so many body blows that you can take. So it's good. It's a lot of things that we can do from a standpoint of pass protection, still running in terms of pad level and that type deal without the pads on. But then once those pads come on, they feel like a different animal then, and they want to go get contact. But from a running back standpoint, I think it is good because, we get our contact in terms of the way we practice, in terms of being physical and being fast.
Second time this week that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they went